Good morning, friends. It's Sam again at Stitch and Steel Homestead, and our Black Doe Nebula just delivered a litter last night. So I'm going to walk you through some of the things that I look for, some of the things I check on, just to make sure that all is going well with Mom and the babies, and introduce you to our newest kits. So before I go anywhere near the babies, the most important things I do are take care of the needs of the colony and the rest of the barn at large. So I've made sure that they've got fresh food and water in their water pans. I've refilled their hay bunker. I've also given hay to the goats, the horses, fed the goats, watered the goats, fed the chickens, watered the chickens, put some fresh shavings down in the nest box. And all that time, I'm paying attention to what's going on out here in the Rabbitat. And there's two things I'm primarily looking for: the health of the mom and the health of the colony as a whole. So with Mom, I don't want to see her, is she acting depressed, meaning she's kind of hiding out somewhere, she's sitting still, she's not moving a lot, she's not really being interactive with those around her, or is she distressed, in which case she's kind of maybe acting frantic, hopping around, looks uncomfortable, etc. I want to see, is she eating and is she drinking? And Nebula seems pretty not phased this time. She's happy, she's hopping around, she's interacting with all the other rabbits, she's been eating, she's been drinking, so those are all good signs that Mama is healthy. Then I want to see how the colony's doing as a whole. Are her older kits still trying to get into the nest box and causing problems? Is Nebula being bossier than usual towards the other rabbits in the colony? Are the other does picking on her? Is the buck being kind of relentless in pursuing her to mate? All of those things I want to observe. And again, today it kind of just looks like business as usual in the colony, so that's a really good thing. Another important thing to note is, what is the doe and the colony like normally? So it's one thing to say, yeah, she kind of looks a little depressed. She's just been sitting there in the corner and not doing a whole lot. But what is she normally like? Does she normally just sit in the corner and not do a whole lot? Maybe it's not a problem, or maybe it's a problem that's not related to the delivery that you need to be looking at otherwise. So, it's also important to compare to her normal. And then the last thing I do before I'm ready to go check on the babies is I give them something that's a little bit of a treat for them. Generally I give them some tree hay. So tree hay is just branches that are harvested in the summertime when they're in full leaf and stored to be fed during the winter. Just like grass hay, except it's coming from trees and brush and shrubs and the likes of that. So all of my observations leading up to this point helps me determine what kind of tree hay I'm going to offer them. If Nebula was looking stressed or distressed or depressed at all, I might assume that she's had a hard delivery and might need a little bit of help to recover from it. In that case, what I would do is offer her some raspberry canes and some willow. Raspberry helps to tone the uterus and reproductive tract and help it repair and recover from a tough delivery. And willow is a natural analgesic, so painkiller. So that just kind of helps her get over the hump of the first couple days and recover from a tough delivery. But in this case, she's just acting fine. So I didn't bother to seek out medicinal plants per se. I just offered them some maple today, and she seems to be quite happily chowing away on it. So now that she's also kind of distracted with the tree hay, is a good time to go and see, finally, how those babies are doing. So you can see here she's built a beautiful little nest. She's used lots of hay, which is a good thing, because as those babies first start tasting things, the thing they'll eat first is the hay in their nest. So it's really good to have that available for them. And then down in here you see all the fur she's pulled. And in here are our warm and wiggly kits. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off and pull them out and count them and check them over. And I will do my best to show them to you before I tuck them all back in. So we have a litter of 8 healthy, wiggly little kits. And it looks like most of them are going to be sort of black or dark. And we got this one here who's going to be a lighter color. It's always interesting to see what we get in these litters. This one might be an interesting color. It looks more sort of brown around his nose. A couple of them have the white bellies, so they're going to be an agouti of some sort, like a chestnut. And this one is going to be a black. So this is Nebula's litter here. So I'm just going to go ahead now that I've counted them, look them over. Nobody's got any injuries. Nobody's been over-groomed. I'm just going to tuck them right back in there. 2, 4, 6 furry babies, and the last 2 makes 8. And then any fur, I'm just kind of going to pick it back up and make sure they've got a bit of fur over top of them. And there we go, and that's all I need to do. With some does, I'd be tempted to check on the nest pretty regularly, particularly a mom who's had maybe a spotty record of taking good care of her kits, or a first-timer, new mom. Nebula, however, has been a fantastic mom for me so far. This is her 3rd litter. Her 2nd, she gave us 7 healthy kits, and every one of them survived till weaning. So I'm not overly worried about this litter. So I might check on them every 3 to 5 days just to kind of take a poke in there, make sure everybody's doing okay, unless I've been given some reason to have a bit of a concern about them. But for the most part, I try to just stay out of her way and trust her to do the job she's here to do. If I find I need to intervene with a mama too much, usually I look at replacing that doe. I really want my moms to be pretty self-reliant when it comes to raising their babies. I don't want to have to fuss and do a lot of, removing kits and shelving litters and feeding babies and fussing with stuff or flipping moms and having babies feed that way. I just want her to take care of it. So that's what is a pretty important criteria for who gets to stay in our colony, is moms who can raise their babies well with minimal human intervention. So right now, Nebula's going to come and sort of give a checkup on her babies to make sure they're all right after I've been messing with her nest. But don't be worried if your mamas don't do that. Rabbits are not really babysitters. They're not the kind to hang out and be attentive to their babies all day, every day. Most mama rabbits, you'll never really see them around the nest. They tend to feed their young at around dawn and around dusk, so only 2 times per day. And for the rest of the time, usually they want to stay far away from the nest. So if there were predators, they're not leading them towards the helpless babies. So don't be concerned if it doesn't seem like your mama's being attentive to the babies. As long as they've got big full tummies on them, she's doing exactly what she needs to do.